Heavenly Father, Heavenly Father.
Please know that it is one Reverend Shaw segment on the GoDaWork radio show, and definitely, as most of us say in radio, we have some hot topics for you today. Welcome to the show, Reverend Shaw. How are you?
Go to work, go to work, go to work. I am doing fine, and I thank you, my sister, for always having my back and bringing me on this wonderful show. Amen. So that the people who listen to you can know what's going on.
That part right there. Well, I sure appreciate you. And we're going to get right into it. I tell you, that 1 minute into the show goes by so fast as well. And we have so many things happening in the community. Like I just saw on Instagram where there is Maxine Waters that was out there on the streets of LA. Looks like, I don't know exactly what intersection that was, but she stopped to see about what was happening with a black brother and the police officers, and she was recording, or somebody was recording her, innocent bystander. They started filming, and she got out of her SUV, and then they did a little, I wanted to say tutorial, but yeah, what's your take on that situation?
Well, from a community standpoint, we might think what she did is heroic, looking out for people, things like that. But having been from the streets and an ex-law enforcement officer, I'm going to tell you what she did was extremely dangerous, not only for her, the young man, and the law enforcement officers. We have to see, first of all, we know that we commit crime in our community. So to see a black man get pulled over, and you just assume he's just a black man getting pulled over, and you don't take the criminal aspect and the danger aspect in it because you think that because you're a congressperson or assembly person, because I don't want to talk bad about her, I just want to talk about the actions that she did can get people killed. Let's say, for instance, that young man had just done a drive-by shooting. He already has 2 strikes. He knows that the 3rd strike, he's out of here. And then she walks up into the middle of the scene, and now you have an unknown variable in it, and you just take the officers off that game enough to where that person can open fire, do anything. As an ex-officer, I tell you that it takes literally a split second for life to end and the game to change altogether.
Right, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, that's why I think maybe some people also had some experiences. Sometimes we hear about stories where there was a person that was just trying to help. They weren't trying to be a hero, but they did get in the way, and that's why they got in the way because somebody else, they got hurt unintentionally, and then they just decided after that, they just spread the word with their people, and so when they see something happening, they just keep driving by, and so forth because of previous experiences. And then there's other people that frown upon people, just going forward and going around the situation. We have the situation with the rubbernecking, where people slow down to see what's happening and causes, some traffic jams that are just unnecessary, and then other accidents because of people are looking at another accident. So it becomes a domino effect when some people are concerned citizens, but then at the same time, it's still it's like a catch-22 sometimes too.
Well, let me tell you what she could do. What she could do is a great observer. Now, if things go wrong or don't look right, you have a U.S. congressperson who was a witness.
Yeah.
But let us give people the opportunity to do their job, because they will not let me walk in and pass legislation when that's her job. So don't walk out there and be a law enforcement officer when it's his job. Because let me tell you something that people don't know. There is a psychologist. He's a professor of psychology who teaches at West Point or taught at West Point.
Okay.
He teaches a theory called the bulletproof mind that has a concept in it of killology.
Okay.
Now, killology teaches to treat the community in a military type way, to look at the people in the streets as the enemy, and to don't hesitate to kill. Now, the main thing that a police officer wants to do more than anything else is go home at night. And so now, I can do a demonstration with anybody that thinks they know how to be a cop, and I can kill them within a second or two. Because of the fact that there are ways to kill people or to set people up. You thinking that, oh, he's pulling up this black man, let me see what's going on. The cop is walking up on the car, and nothing says that the criminal doesn't have a gun in his hand. Now, it might be like yesterday, where it was no big deal, no criminal action, everybody got to go home alive. But that is not also the scenario. What if this individual just robbed the 7-Eleven and killed the clerk? You think he might be willing to shoot it out or try to get away with it by using her as a hostage or anything like that?
Wow.
So that's the thing that you have to know. Look, we got to let people be who they are, and when they screw up, then we got to handle it.
Yes.
You know, if I get up on your network and all of a sudden, because I represent the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, and I start cursing and acting out on the phone, people may make calls, and then I got to deal with those consequences.
Right.
But otherwise, let me be interviewed. You know what I'm saying? Nothing.
Right. Amen. That part right there. I got you. What about the fact that, can you tell us a little bit more about CCHR if this is the first time somebody's listened to you?
Yes, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights is a human rights organization that exposes psychiatric abuses. It is a watchdog organization specializing in mental health and the crimes and the abuses that are done by mental health. Now, to give you an idea, CCHR has influenced or orchestrated hundreds of laws. They have closed down more mental hospitals and gotten more psychiatrists put in jail than anybody else in the world. It is an organization that is designed to protect the people when they cannot protect themselves. We do not know that when you go to the hospital, you can check yourself out at any time. But when you go to a mental hospital, you cannot check yourself out. You got to have the permission of a doctor who is pretty much has your life and future in his hands. And they have more control over you than when you're locked up in law enforcement.
Right. That's deep.
So, and when I say that, you could be in a mental hospital and receive electric shock against your will before I can get you out. Because all they have to do is you get arrested on a Saturday, you on a 72-hour hold, they can go to court on Monday, get the permission of a judge to electric shock you. I can't even see you to Tuesday because you're on a 72-hour hold.
Wow.
So those are the things people don't know.
Gotcha. Now that brings me to share what else is happening in the community. That word entanglement. And there's a situation. Yes, go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead.
I was going to share. Yes, the entanglement is a hashtag entanglement now, and there's a lot of jokes and there's merchandise out there, T-shirts and cups and caps and different jokes and memes and so forth, because there was a Red Table Talk with Jada Smith and Will Smith about another young man that Jada was involved with while they were married but separated. And she used the term,
Well,
they were entangled. There was entanglement.
well, the thing is this. Um, entanglement is a nice word for saying that I was in a relationship and got caught.
Right.
I mean, so when we start talking about entanglements, then we are shoving the thing. Now, this is the thing: if she and him were actually, because I had never heard that they had broken up, but if they did, because you're more close into that situation than I am, then okay, she had the right to do whatever, especially if they thought they were toward divorce. My problem is when they say she pursued him, but then I can't be judgmental because men often pursue women 20 years younger than them and so forth. So, I can't say it's okay for men to do it and it's not okay for women to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I would have thought, and up until then, I thought that Jada was way more sophisticated and more aware of the entanglement that the environment can bring.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it did. I'm sure it took many people. It took them aback as well.
Yeah, and it's sad that our young men are not men enough to keep their business to themselves. Because for number one, if you and I are involved and you're married and I'm not, or I'm married, or we're both married, or whatever, it is no one else's business what we are doing. And that young man should have been adult enough to know the consequences and the situation he put everybody in. And if he wasn't, then she should have never picked him in the first place.
Right.
Because it does nothing to enhance her reputation. It may feel her pockets up a little bit because of the fact that, everybody want to tune in and see what's happening. So maybe there's money to be made on it, but for the most part, there's nothing she can gain in the field of respect or any of that. So,
Absolutely.
That's my thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so, if anything, if there was something, I know we also have this hot topic also about what's happening to Nick Cannon and Wilder now, and pretty much like people saying, losing his job, but he can create whatever he wants to create on his own network, and yes, it was nice, and we see a lot of seeing a lot of advertisement, or shall we say, hands reaching out to help the brother. And Revolt TV is a black owned network, and we just really don't know, what type of decisions are made and so forth until we see, right? So, but all in all, we talk about the freedom of speech. What is your take on freedom of speech?
Well, the thing is that people should have the freedom of speech, and I am not certain, and I'm going to be truthful, I don't know what he did wrong. If he were attacking the Jews, maybe I could see the anti-Semitism, but if he believed as a Hebrew Israelite, or even as a black man in America, that they're the chosen people instead of the Jews, especially when there's information in our Bible that might indicate that to be the truth, then it becomes a debate or discussion, and then you start comparing scriptures. You go into maybe the Greek or one of these Latin and find out what this means, and then interpret it from there. I don't think that anybody, if somebody says that the white race is superior, and somebody say the black race is superior, from where you stand from, maybe you believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that everybody has the right to believe that they are the chosen people. And, so I would hope that there was more to this than just somebody believing that they are special. And I kind of would doubt any race of people who could not figure that out for themselves in some way, form, or fashion. If you go to you go to Mexico, Jesus looks Hispanic. If you go in the most black homes now, Jesus looks black. If you go in the most white homes now, Jesus looks white. I think there's nothing wrong with that, and that's a hefty thing. Mm-hmm. If you're not attached to someone, that doesn't mean that we got to believe the same.
Right.
For example, I hope I don't get in trouble. I would treat every gay person the same. As I would a black person, anybody else. I would risk my life if I could help save anybody from drowning, no matter what their social or sexual orientation is. But I have a belief in heterosexual. Mm-hmm. Now, that don't mean I'm homosexual. It's just that's not my get down. Right. Just like being heterosexual is not their get down. But I'm not saying this out of hate or I want them discriminated. And if I had somebody very competent working for me, I would most definitely hire them if they were gay. I'm not. Exactly. So, that's what, and I hope that's acceptable in today's society.
I know, exactly. We focus on freedom of speech and sharing our opinions, and, it's just like walking on eggshells. I'm just saying what I believe in, and just because if somebody else doesn't feel the same way, or shall we say adverse, they feel adverse to the opinion or perspective, then some people go the whole 9 yards to retaliate for some reason instead of respecting that the other person just doesn't agree. So we supposed to learn how to, we need to do better with teaching new generations and current generation, for future generations, how to communicate when we don't agree.
And let me just say this: we have to learn to agree and disagree.
That's right.
And the moment you don't agree with us, then we can't get this idea that we're depressed because people don't believe us, or they don't like our songs, or they don't like the way we do our comedy, so we get depressed, and now we need medication, and this foolishness got to stop.
Yes.
There's a life here that we have to all live. Life itself at times is bipolar, and so for us to act like everything is supposed to be smooth sailing and nobody's supposed to hurt our feelings and everybody's to think what we think, and that is not the way of a progressive society.
Exactly.
It's debating that we come to solutions and conclusions that help us all, not just being one-sided or opinionated.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That is so true, and that's a good way to leave the show on today's segment of the GoDaWork radio show, and Reverend Shaw's segment of the GoDaWork radio show. I want to know that it is another beautiful day in the world. As long as we make it a beautiful day, as long as we're progressing and we're accomplishing tasks, it will be better in the future. The joy comes in the morning.
If I could just say this,
yes.
Go to CCHRINT.org. If you want to talk to me or about the National Task Force on Eugenic-Based Racism, then email me at fshaw, which is SHAW, JR, @yahoo.com. F. Shaw Jr., which is JR, @yahoo.com. You can call me, find out about the National Task Force, find out what we're doing to fight for your rights.
Absolutely. Great work. Thank you so very much. And if you want to know more information also about CCHR, CCHRINT.org. And until next time, thank you again, Reverend Shaw.